Hey everybody, I'm back. I tried a couple of things yesterday. I was in what if mode. What if I tried some spray paint? So I had some shiny gold spray paint that I sprayed on really thick and let it drip. And then I took some fingernail polish remover and splattered on, and I don't know if it shows in the video, but there's some cool little bubbly marks in there. And then I happened to run across my golden crackle paste. So I used some of that and I just put it on in a few spots, and I'll paint over it and we'll just have some cool texture in some different spots. It's got great big cracks. So I decided I'm really feeling red lately. So I decided I want a lot of red and warm colors in this one. So for this layer, I'm just going to use warm colors. Some different shades of red, some yellow and golds, and then after I finish this layer, then I'll decide what to do next. So I have some really cool fluorescent red. I have some scarlet. I have a deeper permanent red, cadmium yellow deep, and a yellow ochre. And then I also have a little bit of Payne's gray that I'm going to mix with white, and I don't know, I may put some of that in there. We'll see. So I'm going to start with just brushing, with dropping my white paint. I'm going to start with just brushing on some reds. I'm wetting my brush first because I want it to be a little thinner. And I'm just going to put some on. I'm going to see how that looks over that crackle paste. And then I believe that I'll give it a hit with the spray bottle. Oh yeah, well, I love those drips. And then I'm going to dip into my cadmium yellow. And I'm just randomly putting color on. I'm really not going to think about it too much at this point. Just going to play a little and smear some on. Some of the layer from yesterday is going to show through in places because some of this paint is more transparent, and that's what I want. And then eventually a lot of it will be covered up. I love those big, thick black lines, and I know that the ones that are here are not going to show up in the final piece, but I'm keeping that in mind for my layers that come later, that I want to maybe have some strong black marks in it. Also, yesterday I mentioned that I might have to use a fixative because that charcoal was so powdery, and so that's what I did. I sprayed it with a clear matte, like a clear matte fixative, or varnish, whatever you want to call it, to seal in that, because you can see now they don't come off. If I hadn't, well, they do a little bit, but if I hadn't, all that black would have wiped off. And I used a matte finish. I didn't want it to be glossy and shiny on that bottom layer, so you can't tell there's anything on it, but it just set those marks so they won't come off or change. I also have a little bit of white. It's really not pretty, and it's not going to be pretty for a while, but all those layers underneath just make it interesting. And even if they don't show through in the final piece, they're going to give you interest and texture and depth that you wouldn't have had if you hadn't put all the under layers. If you just use one layer of color, it's just going to be flat. I do love drips. That's a lot of red. Let's put some yellow. I think I have some gray on my brush that's kind of yucky. So I'm rinsing. If you hear strange crunching noises in the background, that's my dog chewing on a bone back there. All right, I'm going to take a smaller brush now and make some littler marks, some different marks. And that went on really thick But I'm going to leave it like that. Because then when that dries, that'll just give me some fun texture there. Again, we're just building up layers, so when it's finished, it'll have interest. Ooh, there's that fluorescent red. Isn't that fun? I like it on top of the others. It's also fun when you can mix your colors right on the canvas. Sometimes you get some cool things that you didn't really expect, like that fluorescent with that yellow. Looks kind of cool. Back to my brush again. Okay. I need some more yellow. I'm using a different yellow this time. Oh, that's very yellow. I don't know if I like that as well or not, but it probably won't show anyway, so it's probably okay. Okay. I think maybe we need some more drips. What do y'all think? Now I'm going to let that drip for a minute. And then I'm going to turn my canvas because I don't want everything to be going the same direction. I want some variety. I have a tendency to make the same kind of strokes. And I don't want them to all be the same. I love the way that looks over that crackle. Another thing to think about is if you want your edges left white or if you want to go on around the edges, and I really think I need to start doing that because I like to cover my edges. I like to have my painting just wrap around. So in a few places I'm going to start going around the edge. Just taking the color all the way around. Then when it's finished you don't have to go back and paint edges or anything because I don't like to do that. Okay, that's a nice hot mess, which is where we want it to be at this point. So I think I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll decide what to do next. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching.